Hello, welcome to this MagiCAD new feature webinar. In this video we'll be having a look at a new feature included with the electrical module in MagiCAD for Revit 2019. This is the Connect Spaces to Switchboard tool, and this new feature is designed to allow you to perform early stage load assessments of the spaces in your project and then summarize that information on the switchboards themselves. In this project I've attached an architect's model, I've added spaces, placed some distribution boards and connected them up using Revit's circuiting functionality. Revit has the capability to perform watts per meter squared calculations based on the the building use type or by the space type, which can be configured under the building and space type settings under the MEP settings menu of the Manage tab. So you can also specify loads in spaces manually within the properties panel of the spaces themselves. So if I have a look at this comms room here and click on electrical loads, so I can use the space type with this function, or I can specify a load. Again, I can use a load density, so watts per meter squared, or if I know that there's a fixed load in here, then I can choose this load function like so. In this example I'm going to stick with the space type, and on top of the calculated values you can also specify another fixed load using the MC fixed load parameter, which is here. So if you know that there's going to be, say, a 2 kilowatt cooling unit in this comms room, then you can just input that value and it will add that then to the calculated value as well. So once you've configured the spaces, you can then use the Connect Spaces to Switchboard function under the MagiCAD Electrical tab, and what this allows you to do is then choose the spaces you want to connect to the distribution board in this case, and using this drop down here we can select, in this case this is my ground floor distribution board, and I can also specify which phase I want this to be on, so I can use this to plan out my phases at an early stage. If I want it on all three phases, then I can have all three ticked, but in this case I'll just choose L1 here and click OK, and I can select the spaces which I want to connect, click Finish. We can see there that's connected those up. And then in this project I'm using a colour plan, as you can see here, so this is to indicate which spaces have already been connected and which phase they've been connected to. Colour plans are standard Revit functionality. All you need to do is specify the parameter, which in this case is MC phases, and then you can assign a colour to each of those parameters. So I'm going to link some more spaces. This time I'm going to select L3 as the phase and choose these, and I can now push this information from these spaces to the distribution board. So to perform that function I simply pull down the drop down menu and choose update power data from spaces here. This will pull all of the load information from the spaces and update them to the actual switchboard. So if we take a look at the switchboard now, then we'll be able to see where all of that data is contained. So in the parameters here we have the estimated load for this board, and this is summarized from the spaces. So we can see here the load on phase L1 and the load on L3. There's nothing on L2 currently, so it's calculated all of that information and summarized it here in this parameter. So on top of these loads from the spaces, you can also update the diversity factor here, and you also have a parameter here for allowing for future expansion. In this example I'm going to update this so that we have 25% spare capacity, and this will then update the information once more. What we have to do to get it to run that process is update the power data from spaces again, and then it will summarize that information in the total estimated load here. This will then push all the way through upstream. So in this example I have the distribution board here. We can see in the network here we have this connected to our main incoming panel board, and if I take a look at that panel board and see the information there, I have another distribution board over here for my external services, which I've already detailed, and we can see that it's pushed all of that information upstream. There's nothing connected to this board directly other than the two distribution boards, so we can see here in the total estimated load all of that summarized information from the boards further downstream. This total again includes any other factors, so diversity or future expansion. We can see here it's also distributed between the phases, so we have the total for each phase. So this can be used at the very early stages of your design process to start balancing these loads then across the phases, and give you a much more detailed way of assessing where your load is going to be distributed throughout the building. This information can then of course be used to size your equipment and your supply appropriately, and form the basis of your early stage design. Okay, this completes the overview of this new feature. Thank you very much for watching the webinar, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one.